Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to Picks and Pours 52. This is the segment of the podcast, well, pretty much the only segment of the podcast now, where I invite my buddy Matt the Mechanic on to make his picks for the upcoming UFC cards. However, Matt the Mechanic could not make it tonight. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be making his picks for UFC Vegas 103 for him, and he's going to have to bet $1 on all the picks that I make for him. And I think I'm pretty good at predicting what Matt would do. So let's see how close I get. Let's see if I do better or worse than he does typically with the picks. I think we're at about even money on the year right now. So not winning, but we're not losing. I also have a story to tell you guys about how I rescued a dove that was going to be eaten by a hawk. I'll save that for after the picks. And then I also want to tell you about my new favorite website. All that after the picks while I enjoy a pour. Cheers. So UFC Vegas 103. This is not helping. This card is not helping with my 2025 kind of lethargy towards MMA. You know, there's only really been one or two cards where I was really excited for so far this year. The pay-per-view coming up next week definitely piques my interest. This card, we'll talk about it pretty quick. I'll leave it at that. Main event, Manel Kape against the man from Kazakhstan, Asu Almabayev. Kape 20-7, Almabayev 21-2. Kape is actually a minus 218 favorite last time I checked the odds. But I think Almabayev, may have the better cardio to go 5 rounds. Manel Kape, I think his biggest issue is he plays it safe for too much of the fight. He waits too long to turn it on, and then he finds himself behind on the scorecards. He's not really taking damage, but he's not taking control either. And, that's where I see him having problems here. He'll get himself too far behind on the scorecards, and then by the time he steps on the gas, it's too little too late. And I think Matt the Mechanic would actually take Almabayev at the underdog money here at the plus 180. So we're going to put $1 on the man from Kazakhstan, Asu Almabayev, in the main event here. Co-main event, kind of interesting fight. I was going back and forth on this one, actually. Two guys, similar experience, Cody Brundage, Julian Marquez. This is a good matchup. This is good matchmaking right here because these guys are kind of in the same boat. A win here will do a little bit for either guy. A loss will knock either one of them pretty far down the ladder. Cody Brundage, his last fight was in July, ended in a no contest against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and before that was the loss to Bo Nickel. So he's really looking to get back in the win column here. Julian Marquez, 3 losses in a row, all finishes. Now Cody Brundage, more of a wrestler. He's got knockout power, right? He had that slam KO over Zachary Reese a couple years ago, if you guys remember that. Gosh, man, this is a tough one because it's two guys that have had they've both had highlight reel performances, right? But neither one is consistent. But I think that Matt the Mechanic would go with Cody Brundage for the underdog money. I think Julian Marquez is the more well-rounded fighter. I think he's got better skills on the ground. But after 3, KO and TKO losses in a row, he might be in his own head a little bit. So for that reason, I like the underdog money on Brundage. Looking at the stats, it's hard to believe that Marquez is a minus 170 favorite, actually. Three losses in a row, but I guess Cody Brundage hasn't been so hot either. So we'll say that explains that. And we'll just move on. Nasrat Haqparast against Esteban Ribovics. Ribovics, is it Ribovics? I don't know. Feel free to correct me on that. I usually try to get the fighters' names right, but his nickname is El Gringo, from Argentina. 3-fight win streak. His last win back in September at the Noche card against the red hot Daniel Zellhuber, who had a whole lot of momentum. And before that, he head kicked Terrence McKinney. This is a big step up in competition for Esteban here. Haqparast has been around the block quite a few times. And he's on a 4-fight win streak. I think the experience may make the difference here. Haqparast, a plus 210 favorite, underdog, plus 210 underdog, and Ribovics, minus 250 favorite. So he's a pretty hefty favorite here. I still think that Matt would side with Haqparast at the underdog money. And this is going to be the last underdog I'm going to take. So we got Almabayev, Brundage, and Haqparast. That would actually be a fun little parlay. If you guys do that sort of stuff. If I was going to do a 3-fight parlay on underdogs on this card, that's what it would be. Almabayev, Cody Brundage, Haqparast. I think that's pretty solid. Let's see. The undefeated Haider Emil is going to get in there with William Gomes. Emil 10-0, 34 years old. Where's he been, man? 3 fights in the UFC, if you count his fighting on the Contender Series. 2 TKOs in the UFC. Gomes, I feel like, is going to be a little overwhelming. This guy, he's not undefeated, but he hasn't lost a fight since 2016. He's won 4 in a row in the UFC, and he's a minus 191 favorite. So Matt the Mechanic's dollar is going to go on William Gomes here on the main card of this UFC Vegas 103. And then we have the widest spread on this main card. Danny Barlow, undefeated, getting in there against Sam Patterson. Barlow, a minus 300 favorite. He's 9-0 with 5 knockouts. 2 of them in the UFC, if you count his TKO win on the Contender Series. Minus 300, but we're going to go with the favorite here in Barlow. So let's put $1 on that. I don't know what you get if you bet on it, if you bet on him winning by KO or TKO, but you might want to think about that option. All right. So, I mean, I kind of kept it brief talking about this main card. On the undercard, Austin Lane and Mario Pinto, the heavyweights going at it. Pinto also undefeated at 9-0. And man, I hate to say this, but I think Austin Lane is getting the old setup here. 37 years old. But he's a heavyweight, so maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong, but Pinto is a beast. This guy's from Portugal, 6'5", 9-0. More than half of those wins are knockouts. He had a knockout in a minute 43 seconds on Dana White's Contender Series back in October. Yeah, we're not betting on this one because it's on the undercard, but my money would be on Pinto. And Ricardo Ramos and Chepe Mariscal, that's a fun fight. Fun featherweight fight there. Danny Silva and Lucas Almeida, that should be a good one. Andrea Lee and JJ Aldrich. That's about it. Not a whole lot going on this card. That's why we're not going to go more than 10 minutes on this one. Oh boy. Mark Fellows tuning in, and of course he's on vacation again. Greetings from Hua Hin, which is in Thailand. For those who aren't too good at geography, like myself. But I did know that that's in Thailand. He said there's a Muay Thai gym right beside my hotel with fights tomorrow night. I can literally hear them training now from the hotel pool. That's pretty cool, Mark. Well, my teammate Noah Solomon is out there. I don't know if it's the same card that you're talking about, but if you see Noah Solomon on that fight card and you attend the fights, definitely root for him. He's gonna need a little support being a foreigner out there in Thailand. But Noah's a tough kid, and I think he's gonna put on a show. He's fought, I think, 3 times in Thailand already, and he's 3-0 out there. Kid's a stud. Trains with us in at MJM City Otong here in Clearwater. Yes, Noah Solomon. They spelled his name totally wrong on the fight card. I think they called him Noor, Noar, but his name is actually spelled Noah, Knoah. But yeah, if you attend those fights and Noah is there, give a few extra cheers in the crowd for me. I know we're in totally different time zones. I don't know what time Noah's going to be fighting, but if I find out, I'll be sharing that information on my Instagram stories. Hopefully he tags me when he shares out the link for his fight. I know I definitely want to check it out. I don't mind waking up a little bit early in the morning to support a teammate. And that's all we're going to say about Fight Night UFC Vegas 103. I don't have a whole lot on this one, guys. It's going to be a fairly quick episode, especially without Matt the mechanic here to bounce things off of. So let me tell you a little story. What happened to me? Oh gosh, I guess it was 2 days ago. So yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So I was home in the middle of the day having lunch. And I was sitting in my kitchen, and I have some rather large windows in the back of my house. I don't know what the size of them are. They're like 4 foot by 4 foot windows, like big, let a lot of sun in windows. So I'm sitting in the kitchen and all of a sudden I hear this big whack. Like I thought somebody hit my window with a baseball bat. And I go over to the window and there's the imprint of a bird's face on the window. So I go outside to see what happened. Obviously, a bird flew into the window and it hit so hard I knew it had to still be out there. There's no way. Sometimes birds fly into the window and they just bounce off and keep going. But uh, this one came in with some velocity. So I go outside and I had some string lights piled up underneath the window that had come down during the last hurricane that I haven't had a chance to put back up. And bird was kind of tangled up in those string lights. So I kind of gently untangled it. I could tell it was in bad shape. I didn't notice this at the time, but it had like a chunk missing out of his back. So something must have bitten him. Maybe he was running from a predator or something. And one of his wings was totally mangled. So I decided, being the good Samaritan that I am, I'm going to try and help this little guy out. So I grab a bucket that I had nearby, just like a little 3-gallon bucket, and I try and shoo it into the bucket. And this guy with his one good wing flies right at my face, bounces off my face, and goes across the yard. Couldn't fly away because one wing. So I go back over to it and I think, damn, I'm gonna need like a bigger box to try and trap him and get him in a box so I can, get him somewhere where I can get him some help. We happen to be friendly with a local bird rescue here in our town that we live in, small town in Florida that we love. And yeah, we made friends with this woman who rescues birds, because a few years ago a baby bird had fallen out of a nest on our front porch, and I didn't know what to do. And my wife is good at tracking people down, so she got onto Facebook or Nextdoor, one of those things, and found this woman who rescues birds. So she came and took the baby bird and rehabbed it, and that baby bird is still in her custody, and she raises it as a pet now. So we're going to contact this woman. I realized I needed a bigger box, but then I look up into the tree in my backyard and I see this giant hawk. I mean, this thing looked like Maui from Moana when he transforms into the giant hawk. This thing was sitting up there with his chest puffed out, and he was just waiting to swoop down and grab himself a Dove Happy Meal. And maybe this hawk was the thing that was chasing the dove in the first place. I don't know. But he's just up there waiting. He wasn't going to swoop down while I was still there, but as soon as I turned my back, he was going to be in there grabbing that dove. So I would have had to go back in the house to get a larger box. And this thing would have been hawk meat by the time I came back out with another box. So I put the bucket on the ground and I put some leaves in it to make it look more inviting, I guess. And there were other birds up in the trees, and I don't know if they were signaling to him, but I basically put the bucket down and I said, "Hey, buddy, you better get in this bucket or it's curtains for you." And the bird just walked right into the bucket and let me pick it up. So I don't know if he sensed that there was a greater danger than me nearby, or if he just had a change of heart about trusting me in this bucket, or if the other birds had notified him, or some combination of the three. Whatever the case, he got in the bucket. And then I brought him into my garage, where, it'd be pretty hard for a hawk to get in. So I happened to have all this stuff in my garage right now because we're getting baby chicks in a few weeks. So I have, feeders and a watering thing. So I gave it some food and water. And yeah, we contacted the bird rescue woman, and she said that if the bird is wounded, I have to bring it to an animal hospital. And she told us about a 24-hour animal hospital that works with the bird rehab center, and it was called Blue Pearl Animal Hospital. So shout out to them. 24-hour facility. They take in injured wildlife, and brought the bird over there. My wife made me go that night. It was like 9:00 at night. So I brought the bird over there. Very nice people. They were really cool. Took the bird. They even gave me my bucket back. It's kind of full of bird shit at this point, but what do I care? I'm gonna be using that bucket for my chickens that I'll be raising in a couple of weeks here. So that's my story, folks. Saved a dove from a killer hawk. Happy ending, I guess, for everyone but the hawk. So if you were rooting for him, he lost this one, but I'm sure he was able to hunt down another meal. But I wasn't going to let him pick off an injured dove in my backyard. So it all worked out. Truth be told, like, if the thing didn't walk into the bucket, I don't know how much harder I would have tried, because I would have needed a bigger box. I couldn't grab the thing because it started flapping around. Every time I went to grab it, I didn't want to break its wing even more. So that's the story. I told this story on my Instagram stories that night, and I got a lot of positive comments back about that. Oh, Matt the Mechanic is on the episode. He said that he'll be back next week. Reggie fucked up and will not be with us anymore. Oh, that's breaking news. Reggie's been fired. Our hobo producer that was living in a freight container in Matt's driveway or something. I forget the exact story. Well, in any case, Matt, since you're here, I'll tell you that you're putting your dollars on Asu Almabayev, who is a plus 180 underdog, Cody Brundage, Nasrat Hakparast, William Gomez, and Danny Barlow. So those are the people I decided that you're betting on. So that's that. All right, let me have a little sip here, since it is picks and pours. I'm going to tell you guys about my pour. And I also want to tell you about my new favorite website, whiskeylibrary.com, where you can go on from the convenience of your own home or your mobile telephone and order yourself some whiskey. They carry a lot of rare and allocated whiskey. You guys know that I love my bourbon. I love bourbon that's hard to find. Who doesn't? It's more fun that way. But I don't always have time to go out hunting for it. So Whiskey Library is a great resource where you can just go on, pick the allocated whiskey that you've been hunting for, put it in your shopping cart, check out, and if you're a member, you get free shipping. If you've ever ordered whiskey online, you know that the shipping charges can be pretty steep. So they have a membership. The first month is free. You can cancel right after that. And then it's like $15 a month, and you get free shipping on every order. And they have some great whiskeys, like this Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series 11 that I happen to be sipping on right now. I got to turn down my light so you guys can see. And this is one of the best whiskeys that I have had in 2024, that I found in 2024. It might be up there with one of my favorite whiskeys. This is a special occasion whiskey. I only happen to be drinking it now because I'm telling you guys about Whiskey Library, where they have this in stock. You can go on and order it today. Should you choose to make a purchase from Whiskey Library, please use the link provided in the show notes. Or you could just go to whiskeylibrary.com if that's easier for you. But it would help me out if you used my link there. They really do have a great selection. Whatever you're hunting for. You're looking for Eagle Rare. You're looking for Weller 12. You're looking for Blanton's. Blanton's used to be one that I was hunting for a lot. Kind of grown out of that a little bit, but I know a lot of you were looking for it. You can find it at Whiskey Library. So there you go, whiskeylibrary.com. You can use my link in the show notes. I'll make sure it's there wherever you happen to be consuming the show. And you can go ahead and enjoy a bourbon. Just like my shirt says right here. My buddy Maverick gave me this shirt. Let's see. That's about it. Let's see. Mark Fellows is going to try and track down Noah Solomon, so I'm going to get in touch with him offline here. Hopefully you're able to go and support. And if you go and meet him after his fight, after he wins his fight, tell him you know me. And that would be awesome, man, if you're able to go and support him. We got MMA on the Rocks is worldwide. That's for sure. I know Mark Fellows probably has his MMA on the Rocks t-shirt or hoodie on him. He's always representing all over the globe on his travels. All these amazing vacations he goes on throughout Asia. I'm so jealous. All right. That's about it. Told you guys the Hawk story. Told you about Whiskey Library. I told you who Matt the Mechanic is picking this week. Short little episode, but I think we covered a lot. And let's leave it there. Let's quit while we're ahead. I'm going to finish the rest of this Bardstown Discovery 11, which, if you're interested in that, it's available on Whiskey Library, link down below. And that's all I got. So until next time, cheers, everybody.